Welcome to the webinar by Maveric Systems, in association with Wolters Kluwer, on the data quality and automated regulatory reporting. We have with us Natasha, product expert at Wolters Kluwer, with Ramesh Reddy, Vice President at Maveric System, hosted by P. Venkatesh, Director, Thought Leadership, Maveric Systems.
Good day to all of you. I'm excited to invite you all to this webinar on data quality and automated reporting. Maverick Systems is a global IT services company focused on banking. One of its key service offerings is on regulatory. In that, we do a lot of data engineering, data quality, and data lineage services for regulatory reporting. In this webinar, we are partnered with Wolters Kluwer, a global 5 billion corporation. It has in its portfolio the financial risk and regulatory platform, which is used by more than 400 banks across the globe. It is one of the leading regulatory reporting platforms in the world. This webinar will have two speakers, Ramesh Reddy, who is with Maverick and leads the regulatory service line for us, will dwell on the data quality part for regulatory reporting. And Natasha Eastes, who is the product owner for the financial risk and regulatory platform for Americas in Wolters Kluwer, will actually run through the automation part in the regulatory reporting. Both of them come with long experiences of over 2 decades in handling this function, and I'm sure their experiences will come through in this session. Now, over to you, Ramesh.
Yes, thank you, PV, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we are diving into a critical aspect of regulatory compliance, which is data quality and the challenges organizations face in achieving and maintaining it. In regulatory reporting, the accuracy, completeness, and timeliness of data are not just important, they are absolutely essential. Failures in these areas doesn't just result in inefficiencies, it can lead to penalties, reputation damage, and increased regulatory scrutiny. Let's explore some of the key data quality challenges organizations face when meeting regulatory reporting requirements. Data accuracy and completeness. Many organizations struggle in accurate or incomplete data. Missing or outdated information can lead to errors in reports, making complaints difficult. Timeliness of data. Latency in processing or transmitting data can delay reporting, especially when tight deadlines are enforced. Auditability and traceability. Regulatory authorities demand transparency without clear lineage. Providing the validity of reporting data becomes a big challenge. Inconsistent data sources. Data often comes from multiple systems in different formats, leading to inconsistencies that are difficult to reconcile. And data duplications. Merging data sets from various systems often results in duplicate records. These duplicates create noise, skew analytics, and affect decision making. And legacy systems. Many organizations rely on outdated systems that lack advanced capabilities for data validation, enrichment, and governance. These systems struggle to integrate with modern platforms, compounding data quality issues. Lack of standardization, aligning with industry standards, aligning internal systems and processes with BCBS 239, DAMA, and CMMI standards requires significant effort and investments. These challenges are not merely operational inconveniences, they have real and often severe consequences like financial penalties, reputation damage, operational efficiency, and additional scrutiny. Addressing data quality challenges in regulatory reporting is not only optional, it's necessary. Solving these challenges doesn't just protect against penalties, it enhances operational efficiency and positions the organizations for sustainable compliance. I'm looking forward for discussing one of the approach for taking some of these challenges. Let's take a moment to explore the regulatory operating reporting operating model, which provides a simplified view of how data flows through a bank systems to ultimately generate reports that satisfy regulatory requirements. This model captures the essential components of data journey without diving into the complexity of specific applications or processes. Here's how the data typically moves through the systems. Front-end applications, data originates from different systems that includes loan originating system, core banking systems, CRM systems, and trading applications. And middle layer, the data from front-end systems flows into the general ledger or equivalent middle layer systems. At this stage, data is processed, aggregated, transformed, and get loaded into data warehouses or into data lakes. Finally, the data becomes available in the reporting and analytical layer where it is prepared to meet regulatory requirements. I'm presenting this slide to give you a high-level visualization of how data flows from its originating system to the final reporting systems. This architecture forms the foundation for regulatory reporting. The subsequent data quality solution slides will refer this model. In this slide, we'll walk through the 5 key levels of validation that banks and financial institutions should implement to maintain robust data quality throughout the reporting life cycle. First, we have data sources level quality checks where the foundation of data quality is established. Data quality rules are prepared, leveraging key dimensions like completeness, accuracy, and consistency, along with a lot of sub-dimensions as part of the dimensions. Advanced automation capabilities allows for the auto generation of rules and their conversion from business logic into technical rules, and that's what being used to validate the data quality. And data quality framework is implemented as part of this process to standardize quality checks across the systems. The second step focuses on reconciliation to ensure data integrity. Reconciliation is performed between the source and target systems in the data pipeline. So whatever we were referring previously, this is like if the data pipeline starts from the front-end systems to middle layer to the reporting layer, in all those pipelines, the data will be reconciled when the data is moving from source to target. And variance reporting is the third pillar. It enables threshold-based monitoring. Variance reports are generated for major data sources and at the report level to identify and address any discrepancies. This framework incorporates analytical capabilities, also making it easier to identify root causes and trend in variances. The pre-report validation is the fourth pillar. Before moving to final reporting, comprehensive pre-report and source validations are performed at this stage. Completeness and accuracy checks are applied to both source data and data pipelines. These pre-report validations ensure the accuracy of enriched and transformed data used in the reports. Finally, report level validation needs to be conducted to ensure the compliance with the regulatory and internal standards. This is the fifth stage of validations. The validations includes data in the reports, schedules, cell values, multiple schedules, and cross-report comparison to maintain accuracy. Even report formatting is checked to meet specific regulatory requirements. These validations ensure the final output is both accurate and in accordance with the regulations. This 5-level approach actually provides a comprehensive framework to ensure data quality throughout the regulatory reporting process. By implementing these layers of validation, organizations can reduce errors, enhance compliance, and maintain trust with the stakeholders and regulators. I will start drilling down on each of these levels. Meanwhile, please feel free to raise any questions. We'll discuss the same at the end. Data quality at source. In regulatory reporting, ensuring that data quality at the source is critical to maintain accuracy, compliance, and operational efficiency throughout the life cycle. This slide outlines the end-to-end approach for managing the data quality right from its origin. The process for creating Data quality rules should be designed to ensure consistency and reusability across the entire data lifecycle. A centralized approach to defining these rules allows them to be applied at various stages, whether data is at rest or in motion or being processed, ensuring a seamless and standardized data quality framework throughout the data journey. So advanced AI and machine learning technologies can be used for rule generation to convert conceptual business rules into technical data quality rules as part of the data quality rules generation process. These rules are crafted by leveraging business domain knowledge, ensuring that they are both precise and actionable. These rules needs to be integrated into data quality framework, and the framework needs to be implemented across the application flow from front-end application to middle layer to consumption layer. The data quality framework needs to apply consistent data quality checks across the systems. At the application level, validate the input files, validate the input data, and validate the transaction. And in the backend system, validate the data in the data storage systems. All this process ensures comprehensive coverage. The DQ rules needs to be executed when the data is at rest, or when such like when the data is at rest in the databases or in the data lakes, or also when the data is in motion during the ETL processes. The frameworks needs to be implemented across the systems in the data flow pipeline, whatever we have discussed initially. Next, we need to focus on managing the data quality errors effectively. A well-defined defect management process needs to be implemented to identify, track, and address data quality issues. Errors needs to be managed using thresholds, which classify the severity of defects and trigger appropriate actions. The system should segregate bad records, including incomplete or duplicate records, for remediation or exclusion purpose. This ensures that only high quality data is processed further in the pipeline. Data quality metrics are also very important when you are monitoring the data quality checks. Key performance indicators are defined for data quality rules to measure the compliance and effectiveness, and advanced analytical tools like AI or ML process to be used to identify potential issues based on the historical data quality issues across the applications. For metrics reporting, DQ reconciliation, DQ summary, and detailed reports to be created along with intuitive dashboards. By establishing robust data quality at source approach, organizations can ensure clean, reliable data from the very beginning. This minimizes the downstream errors, reduces manual interventions, and enhances confidence in regulatory reporting process. This is the second pillar, data reconciliation. As we advance in discussing data quality within regulatory reporting, this slide focuses on the critical role of reconciliation processes within the data platform and the reporting tools. Reconciliation is essential to ensure data consistency, accuracy, reliability across various systems and layers. We address reconciliation across multiple key areas to ensure data integrity throughout the reporting journey. Reference data reconciliation. This ensures the accuracy and alignment of critical reference data such as risk classifications or GL mapping across the systems. Inter-system transactions data reconciliations. This verifies the transaction data uh, makes consistent when moving the data between originating systems, middle layers, and reporting tools. Data warehouses to source reconciliation. This process checks the alignment between raw source data and the data stored in the warehouse to confirm accuracy during data ingestion. And fourth one, data marts to data warehouse reconciliation. This validates that data aggregated in data marts maintains consistency with the data warehouse, ensuring no discrepancies in derived metrics. And fifth one, data warehouse to reporting system reconciliation. This process ensures data extracted from the warehouse to the reporting layer is accurate and formatted correctly for reporting purpose. And to implement all these processes, we need to follow a proper reconciliation approach. And generally, we suggest to adopt a layered reconciliation approach. And as part of the layered reconciliation approach, reconciliation data needs to be done for all the critical data items, such as like product data or GL code block or chart fields or risk classification fields or any of the critical data elements across the application needs to be part of the reconciliation process. And threshold and accepted criteria are defined for variances, ensuring balances precision or operational efficiency. This approach actually ensures that minor permissible variances do not create unnecessarily workflow bottlenecks. When exceptions occurs, a defined workflow to escalate critical issues, approval mechanisms to be validate and resolve discrepancies needs to be implemented. Through a structured reconciliation framework, we can ensure that data across all systems and layers remains consistent and reliable, mitigating risks of errors in regulatory reporting and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Third pillar, variance reports. Variance analysis is critical component of ensuring accuracy and reliability of regulatory reports. By systematically comparing data across various dimensions, variance analysis helps identify anomalies, trends, and potential inconsistencies, ensuring robust reporting and complaints. To provide a comprehensive view, we need to conduct variance analysis across several dimensions. The business dimensions, this focuses on key financial metrics such as income, expenses, or assets, liabilities to identify discrepancies or unusual trends. And time dimension compares data across monthly, quarterly, or annual timelines to monitor trends and detect any variances. Report dimensions evaluates individual reports and schedules to ensure consistency within and across different regulatory filings. Other dimensions includes comparison of versions or scenarios such as refiled reports or alternate scenarios for the same reporting period. For example, the FFIEC 031 report, if we take that report, we should create variance report for all schedules comparing for different quarters. All these variances needs to be analyzed to define thresholds, allowing us to highlight exceptions directly in the reports. All these variances needs to have a drill down functionality from summary reports to granular transaction details. By integrating variance analysis into the regulatory reporting process, we not only ensure accuracy and compliance, but also provide deeper insights into the financial and operation trends, empowering proactive decision making. This is the fourth pillar. Before reports are submitted to the regulators, rigorous pre-report and report level validation ensures compliance consistency and accuracy. Let me walk you through how these validations are structured and their critical role in the process. First, we have the pre-report validations which occur before the actual report generation. These checks are designed to ensure that the underlying data feeding into the reports is complete, accurate, and fit for the purpose. And completeness accuracy checks assesses both the data sources and the data itself to ensure no critical fields are missing and the values are aligned with the expectations. Orphan reports contains data which fails to meet any of the report configuration in the schedules. So this needs to be analyzed for any potential configuration issues. Exceptional reporting integrated procedures identify and report data errors or any integrity issues. These exceptions are flagged for corrections and explanation. Data validation for transformation and enrichment validates that the enriched and transformed data is used in the reports matches expected quality standards, ensuring it is reliable for regulatory submission. Once the pre-report validations are complete, we move to the report level validations. These checks are designed to ensure that the report itself meets both regulatory and business standards. So regulator provided validations. These are the validation directly provided by regulators such as format specifications and field level checks. And there can be checks on each of the cell in the report, the data within the cell, and it can compare between the schedules or it can compare between the reports. All these all these validations are provided by the regulators. And what we need to manage is any comments or quality issues raised during this process needs to be managed systematically and tracked for closure. And then second step here is customized validations. Apart from whatever is provided by the regulators, we need to implement additional validations at the report level, which includes cell value validations or validating data across the schedules or across the reports, similar to the regulations provided by the regulators. And third one is re-engineering submission ready files. So once the reports are generated in formats like text files or XML or XBRL are generated and cross-validated with the data. So we need to re-engineering this data, and we need to see whether whatever data we are reporting in these files are accurate and all. So this ensures that whatever is submitted accurately reflects the intended content and meets regulatory requirements. These layers of validation pre-report and report level acts as a safety net, catching any issues that might lead to compliance risk or inaccuracies. By embedding these robust checks into the reporting process, organizations can achieve high standards of data quality and regulatory alignment. With this, I'm going to hand over to Natasha, who will be discussing how these controls can be implemented using OneSumX application. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ramesh. Okay, thanks for joining us today on this data quality and regulatory reporting automation webinar. Just briefly, I want to introduce you to WK for those you don't know our business. We help our customers make critical decisions every day by providing expert solutions that combine deep domain knowledge with advanced technology and services. So we cover these strategic verticals in health, tax and accounting, finance and corporate compliance, legal and regulatory. And I'm joining you today as part of corporate performance and ESG. And specifically, we offer finance risk and regulatory reporting functions. So basically everything that a bank needs across finance, risk and regulatory reporting across these 5 verticals. So just briefly to introduce them to you, I'll just bring up the slide. We have the finance function, so that covers US GAAP, IFRS 9, for example, subledger and general ledger capabilities, amongst others, risk management, ALM, liquidity risk, market risk, credit risk. And then we have our regulatory risk calculators that offer the regulatory calculations needed. So, for example, FR 2052A, SCCL, Basel and capital adequacy calculations. So those are the calculations required to actually provide some of the numbers, more complex numbers on the regulatory reports. And that's all provided from one data layer. In order to increase efficiencies. And then finally, the performance area, so risk-adjusted performance and profitability management, as well as funds transfer pricing. So what I'm going to cover today is relating back to what Ramesh was talking about, and specifically under regulatory reporting. So OneSumX offers 70 plus regulatory reporting forms, the templates, as well as full end-to-end automation of the majority of those reports. So end-to-end from the source all the way through to the submission process. And that includes the FOI 9 series, the core reports, etc. And that's for US and Canada. So just to be more specific for you, for US, we cover FDIC, FFIC, the Federal Reserve requirements, OCC, the US Treasury for US, and then for Canada, we offer a solution for OSFI, so the Office of Superintendent of Financial Institutions, Bank of Canada, and Statistics Canada. All right, so to relate back to what Ramesh was talking about, he talked about the 5 pillars and looking at your data quality program across all of those 5 pillars. What I'm going to talk to you about really is more around the pre-report source validations and the report level validations. So the advantages of having a regulatory reporting automated process via a vendor is that there are many quality checks built in to the workflow for data quality, both in the pre-report and report level validations. So I'm going to walk you through today the best practices that Wolters Kluwer offers as part of the regulatory reporting product, and talk to you about the best practices as well. So before we do that, just giving you a little bit of context here as to how the data maps into the product and what the what is covered by the product and what's not. So the data mapping starts at the source systems. Those are mapped into the Wolters Kluwer data layer. The Wolters Kluwer data layer is a prescribed format of data, so it's everything that you need to get any of these reports at the right level of granularity as well, to get any of the reports that are part of your license. It also includes full allocation. What we mean by that is that basically our team of SMEs has analyzed and read all of the instructions for all of the reports and interpreted that into our data logic from the data layer through to the reports. So that is all supported by the regulatory update service. So whenever there are updates, those are interpreted into the full allocation rules and back to the data layer and all communicated to you so that you, if there's any additional data that's needed, you can source that, or in some cases, no requirement at all from you, your existing data has enough granularity. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea. So one important part of a data quality program is that it's consistently being updated in line with the latest regulations. So as discussed, you need to ensure the quality of the static databases, and they must be in line with reporting requirements. They must be regularly reviewed, and that they need to be clear to the business lines. So by mapping to the data model, then you have all the pre-subscribed formats, the granular data characteristics. You're able then to use that and map that data once. So you've mapped that data into the data layer, and you can use it on all of the reports. You've described that data as into business logic, and that logic is then used in the allocation and onto the reports. So you don't have to map once for the core report and once for the 2900 or multiple times per report. You map your data according to the data attributes needed, and then that is enough to get it onto all of those reports. So that obviously is a much more efficient way than creating logic for every single report yourselves. So we talked about data that's allocated to the reports. So obviously an important part of completeness checks is also data that's not allocated to the reports. So in many cases, there's a valid reason for that, right? It's not data that's needed on this report. So as part of the product, you have orphan account reports. This shows you that everything that has not been captured onto the report, and you can use that for exception reporting in order to show where that data's gone and why it's not gone onto the report, to provide a full view of your data and reconciliation. So the regulators' validation rules. So this will be part of your report level validations. The regulators do publish an extensive set of edit checks that are built into the CDR for the core reports and the reporting central. So those are built into the product as well, so that you can be sure that you are sending valid data to the regulator according to all of their checks. And those are kept up to date for you as part of the regulatory update service. So you can see an extensive number are supported here, both for the US banking reports and the FBO reports. And you'll see in the product navigation screens that you can see all of the edit checks, those that have passed and those that have failed. And you can navigate to the cells that are included in those edit checks and see it drill down into the underlying data. So there are different types of edit checks that are published by the regulator. There are validity edits, which must pass before the submission can be created, or the file will fail submission. So the example of those is that the total on the loan schedule RCC must equal the total on the loans RC balance sheet schedule, for example. Quality edits, those are also published by the regulator, but they can also be supplemented by your institution for further quality assurances. These do not have to pass, but an explanation must be provided to show that this is a difference that's been accepted by your management and that you have investigated and understand that the numbers that are being used are correct and there is a valid reason why this quality edit didn't pass. In some cases, these get submitted to the regulator, and in some cases, these are, kind of kept in the system so that you can reference them if you have questions from the regulator. Finally, for the core reports, you have reportability rules. There's a reportability questionnaire which gives key information on the entity and reportability edits, which will then check with parts of the core reports, which parts of the core report are required to be submitted. And they will flag anywhere that data is missing to ensure that you have an accurate report. So we touched on data lineage. As I said, you can drill down into the edit checks to investigate any failed edit checks. And data lineage is enabled through drill back functionality. So it provides full auditability and visibility into the contract details and back to the source systems. Attributes from the source system are available to show the mapping to the data model codes, and transparency into the logic which will explain the attributes that have led to this contract being reported. So there's full transparency into the mapping, into the logic, into how this particular contract got to any particular cell on any report. As you can see, from this screen, it's showing the transparency of the data logic and how across different reports, the same data attributes have been used in this particular scenario across the 9C and the core reports for loans secured by real estate. So because you're using the same data, we use the same logic and the same attributes, it really enhances your accuracy of your reports. And of course, it's important to have quality data all the way through, and you have checked all the way through to this point. But you should have, just from the design of the product itself, you should have less issues in terms of cross-validating across your report and reconciliation across your reports. So as well as report validations, we offer cross-report validations and report-to-report reconciliations. So for example, report reconciliation is part of our analytics product, and it offers reconciliation of certain items on the core report back to the FR 2644 and or the 2900. And you can draw down on any of those differences and ensure and draw right back to the source and see why those differences are there. And again, there may be valid reasons why there are differences, and those just need to be explained and saved and checked. Another report level validation is the use of trend and variance reporting. So we have a specific example here from the system, again, part of the analytics of the product. So you can filter on a particular schedule or cell, or look at the report as a whole and see the differences from period to period. And you can drill into those differences and provide an explanation and see deal by deal why there are differences in that particular cell from period to period. And this really allows you to focus your resources onto your high risk areas where you have the most fluctuation, the most change since the previous period. So this is just showing you how you can drill into those differences and see down to the deal level why there is a change from the this period to the previous period. and help you provide your explanation. And you can also copy your explanations from previous periods that may be applicable too, right? Often there's a lot of that. Before automation, obviously automation is an investment, right? At the moment, you may be, if you're doing this manually, you're likely spending a lot of time gathering your data, reconciling your data manually, maybe then editing your data, adjusting your data. Um, when when there is an investment in automating, what we see is a switch from spending that time on data gathering and allowing your resources to then spend time on analysis, and then they can really focus in on accuracy, some of the reporting that we've shown before, the trends and variances, the reporting to your management, and making sure you're ready for your regulators' questions ahead of time. So one final thing I wanted to I've repeated throughout a little bit is about the regulatory update service. So there's different areas that this covers, and one of those is the data requirements, as well as the data mapping. So those are monitored and communicated to you on at least a quarterly basis in order that you can be ready for any changes that are needed coming down through your data. The allocation rules as well are updated, as well as the regulatory templates, along with the edit checks and delivery formats. And product downloads are available to you along with the documentation. So, a data quality program and is not a static thing. It's a moving target. So the regulator's updating their regulations, your bank is updating its products and your strategy, as well as your data sources also being updated. So OneSumX can support you in informing you of updates to make this as smooth as possible and keep you up to speed with all the regulatory changes. So in summary then, a data quality program, which includes the checks across the 5 pillars, will increase your reporting accuracy and efficiency. So using technology in this process and leveraging expertise across your IT and your business from outside your organization as needed will allow you to build a program that fits your needs. And thank you so much for listening today. And please, if you have any questions, then let us know. We also so we'll be looking to answer those questions shortly. And we also have a few poll questions to start some discussions, and we can share the responses to see what this group is thinking and experiencing on this topic.
Thank you so much, Ramesh and Natasha. In fact, we have a couple of questions. And the first question is for you, Natasha. Brian wants to know what is the difference between Wolters Kluwer product and technology. Specifically, he's interested in the EU market.
In the EU market. Okay.
Correct.
So I don't know everything about Regnology. Obviously, I've heard them, but I've never seen their product. So I will point out our the OneSumX value proposition. So I would say one of the key areas that we have in our value proposition is our regulatory update service. We have an expert team behind us in the US and in the EU as well. In fact, the EU is actually an even bigger area for regulatory reporting than the Americas when you look at our overall FRR business. So they are a leader in the market. So we have a substantial team of experts behind us who are ex-regulators, who are ex-bankers, and they are providing this. In my opinion, and I have worked for other vendors as well, in my opinion, they're providing the best regulatory update service that is out there. So that's one thing that we stress. And there are a couple of different automated ways of doing regulatory reporting. One of them is more, would be where you take your data and you have a tool that allows you to map your data to specific areas on the, MDRMs or cells on the report. The other, which is Wolters Kluwer, is a more productized version, which is where we would provide that those rules to you. There's obviously differences in the control there. So some of it is a preference. If you have a big team and you want to maintain control of those rules, then that's maybe a better solution for you. But I think, in a market where you don't want to have a team who's maintaining those rules every time there's update to the changes, then a more productized version is a preference. And my understanding is a Regnology would be more of a rules-based option than Wolters Kluwer is. So Wolters Kluwer is a more productized version. I hope that answers the question.
But any case, Natasha, we will check with the FRR team in Europe and see if we have any product comparisons, and then we could answer. We
Yeah,
could send that
sure.
across to Brian. Yeah, Brian will do that. And Brian has a further question, and this is for you, Ramesh. Do you think GenAI has a role in further automating regulatory reporting?
GenAI definitely has a bigger role in regulatory reporting space, but generating the regulatory reports itself, there will be some problems. But when it comes to the data quality validations or when it comes to the reconciliations and all, GenAI can definitely help in creating the data quality rules automatically, and so that it can ensure the accuracy, completeness, and consistency. And even when report generation, correct, that's somewhere like where we see that it can interpret the data, and it can apply the regulatory reports, and it can format the data. So definitely it can create the reports, but having this process running in production has its own complexities, and that is something which all the banks are trying to resolve. And other advantage with GenAI is whatever reports are produced, it can create a summarized or complex, uh, like summarized information on those complex reports. So that can definitely will help the users. So we do see future like where GenAI will be part of regulatory reporting generation, but as of now, we don't see that much happening.
Now, to Natasha, do you have any plans of using GenAI in your automation framework within the regulatory platform itself? Is it in the roadmap of FRR in the US?
Yeah, I'd say we're in discovery phase. We have nothing imminently in development. The areas that it's interesting to look at will be on the trends and variance side. I think Gen AI potentially could be very good at interpreting your trends and variances very, very quickly and pointing out your high risk areas. That's something that I'm keen to investigate, seeing if we can incorporate that into our offering. But internally as well, it's something that we're looking to create efficiencies, be able to implement changes more quickly internally, and therefore get them out to our clients more quickly as well. So, looking to find efficiencies in our development process as well by using AI.
Thank you, Natasha. See, Ramesh, I have a question for you. You put out that 5 pillars of data quality. Of that 5 pillars, uh, from your own experience, where do you think banks fare well, and where do you think banks do not fare well, and why?
Yeah, actually, like generally we can guess on the answer. So something which needs to be done, like generally banks tends to excel in report level validations for regulatory reporting, because these are the validations that are mandated by regulators, and they have very strict standards before submission. And if you see this, the compliance requirements drives banks to invest in controls and processes, specifically only at the last process of generating the reports. And however, like many banks rely heavily on manual adjustments to address errors identified during last minute validation. So we see like they're spending a lot of effort in in that area, like when generating the report itself, they have a lot of validations and they try to make it consistent. So that's one of the area I think banks are really doing well. But this reactive approach highlights a gap in upstream data quality management, and banks need to implement robust controls and validations starting from the originating system to all the way into the regulatory reports. And actually, that is something which is really missing at the banks.
Thank you, Ramesh. See, Natasha, I have a question for you. From your own experience, what size or nature of banks have the greatest challenge and why?
I would say, some of the smaller banks sometimes have more of a challenge, or kind of the smaller and growing. I think, sometimes scalability is an issue. So when you've been used to having, a set number of reports, and then you're growing and your reporting requirements are also growing, as well as your data and so on. So I think a smaller bank that is growing probably has the most challenges, and may not have all of the IT resources that you would have available to you, and the IT budget that you would have available at a larger bank. So I see scalability is kind of a key area that we see challenges around.
Growth organically or even inorganically
Yeah,
is the one which drives challenges because of
exactly.
integration and
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
See, now we will go into the poll question, and I request the audience to actually give their fair view.
Poll question 1. How confident are you in your organization's ability to meet regulatory data quality standards?
It is interesting that there's none in the extremes, either being very confident or very concerned, but many are neutral. Probably they are happy with where they are today and still can look for improvements. Can we go to the next poll question?
Poll question 2. What is the most time-consuming part of your current regulatory reporting workflow?
That's interesting. It's a pretty even split I'm seeing so far. It's quite interesting. Oh no, there you go.
Yeah.
I think definitely the data reconciliation process really takes time because you have to have this process across the data flow.
Correct. Multiple stages in which it is to be done.
It may also depend on the number of sources you have, right? If you've
Correct.
got multiple sources, obviously that's going to take a lot longer and be more complex.
Yeah. Do we take another poll question?
You take the last one.
Yeah.
Poll question 3. Which technology or automated practice do you believe can most improve data quality for regulatory reporting?
Yeah. See, Brian, you have a part answer here. The data governance frameworks will. You need a good quality of data even for AI and machine learning to work, and once that is there, it can sort out things, and that's coming out here quite well. Thank you very much for participation, and we look forward to your support moving forward.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.